Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Menendez Jr. And today I join with two of my close friends and actually fellow co-hosts of the Inner Monolog Podcast. What up, Marcus? And what up, Rick?
It was good.
Thank you for joining me. I've been wanting to have you guys on for this fight in particular because everyone that asks me why did you start a boxing channel, I say because my friends only watch Canelo fight. So given this Canelo Bivol fight week, I had to do a prediction video with you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys saw my Everything to Know video.
Yeah.
You know that I got Canelo by unanimous decision. But I want to hear from you, Marcus. Who do you have winning and why?
All right. So I got Canelo, obviously. I don't know why some of these guys are saying it because was it Bivol?
Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple of this dude's highlight fights. Don't get me wrong, he's fucking impressive. Very fucking impressive. My issue, though, one, Canelo is seasoned. Not only seasoned, he is well seasoned. Like, he's got all his techniques pretty much figured out, but he's also still learning. And he's one of the best when it comes down to breaking down his opponents and then taking them down. So he's going to spend the first few rounds filling them out, trying to figure out where his weak spots are, where the openings are, and then he's going to start putting work on your ass. And this kid's aggressive. I'm not going to even lie. Like, he's got some good combinations, some great fucking footwork. Knows how to pick his spots, isn't too overzealous like, those early kind of professional boxers are, where they're trying to still prove themselves. One issue I'm having with him is his last, 7 or 8 fights, he has not been able to knock any of them out. And I guess that's because of his ever-evolving technique. So if I had to put it to, I'd say he'd make it to if he makes it past 10 rounds, then Canelo by unanimous decision.
All right. And you called out that he hasn't knocked out anyone in 8 fights, so you think he doesn't have the power to hurt Canelo and get his respect?
I don't.
Right,
fucking Canelo's got ultra instinct now. Shit.
All right. So I'm going to go with you, Rick, now. So who do you think is going to win and why?
Come on, bro. Let's. This is exactly why you started the podcast. So personally, I think Canelo's going to win because he has more ways to be able to win.
Yep.
So as we're going back and watching some of Bivol's previous fights, he doesn't seem to have evolved very much throughout. Like, don't get me wrong, the kid has a lot of good, like Marcus said, he has good footwork, but he doesn't seem to have very many combination punches going on. He seems to necessarily give you the 1-2, the 1-2-3, and then kind of step back. I feel like this has to do with the fact that he fights at a much higher weight class.
Yep. And
boxers that tend to fight within that weight class tend to not be as fast. Where I would disagree with Marcus would be that, like, I think the kid has power.
Mm-hmm.
He's his last previous fights, like he said, it's been 8 fights.
8 fights.
That he hasn't knocked anybody else out. But when you get to the heavyweights, it becomes a much more difficult thing to do.
Right. As you step up in competition, it does become harder to get those knockouts.
Yeah. As far as gaining Canelo's respect, I think it'll gain Canelo's respect in the earlier rounds where he's going to try to figure out where his pocket is to be able to step in, because that is what Canelo's going to have to do. If there is a knockout, which I highly think that there won't be, I'm with you guys. But besides unanimous, I will say Canelo wins by split decision.
I can see that.
Okay.
I think the fight will be very close. I do think it'll be close. Canelo's trying something way outside of his comfort range. Like how many boxers actually fight within that many different weight classes?
Not many.
The kid's a champion. The kid's a champion for a reason. So I think it'll be a split decision, and I think that if there is a knockout, it'll be a surprise. It'll be Canelo catching the kid somewhere in the middle rounds with an overhand right, that was unexpected or an uppercut. Other than that, I don't see it. I don't see there being very many surprises.
Yeah. And
so if I would have to say you're going to have to be a boxing enthusiast to enjoy the fight, because there is going to be a lot of posturing and trying to catch each other kind of slipping.
Yeah. It's going to be a high boxing IQ fight. It's going to be all about positioning and who can, Canelo's going to try to get on the inside, and Bivol has shown that he can fight on his back foot. So you're going to want to keep that distance between Canelo and just jab and keep scoring. So I agree with you, Rick, that I wouldn't be surprised if a judge sees it in Bivol's favor, just because Canelo does struggle with fighters that have good mobility. And I've seen Bivol's footwork, which is good. His head movement is lacking, so I think Canelo can catch him to the head. But it's going to be if he can close that distance and keep Bivol honest, with the power.
I think the only reason his head movement is lacking is because he counts so much on his footwork.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but see, I don't think Bivol is fast enough.
No,
I was thinking this is going to be the reverse of the Mayweather Canelo fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where this time Canelo's a seasoned vet, and he's going to be more mobile and agile, fighting somebody that hasn't fought somebody quite like him yet.
True.
So I think Canelo will be able to step in, slip a punch, get a couple points in, and then step out.
What's the weight class at? 125?
175.
175.
The light heavyweight.
Oh, so he's putting on.
Canelo chasing
10 counts now?
So it's going to be 7 because he fought at 168 against Plant last time on there.
Okay, so a little sluggish.
Yeah, which, Bivol is a natural 175 pounder, and most people view him as the second best guy behind Spetterbeef. Mm-hmm. So I give him a good chance to trouble Canelo. I don't think he's going to win because Canelo's going to figure him out after the middle rounds and really bring it on. But we've seen Canelo against mobile fighters like Khan. They struggle in the early rounds before they figure them out. And with Khan, he knocked them out. Same thing with Billy Joe Saunders. Same with Billy Joe Saunders. It was a little trouble in the beginning, and they figured him out. And Caleb Plant. So all those 3 fights ended in knockouts. But the difference here is the Russian chin.
Saunders fight, dude, so hard.
I guess Billy was the one that liked that Mexican beef, huh?
Yeah, which I haven't heard much about the Mexican beef for this build-up. Which I don't know if we were behind it now, or what. But I'm kind of glad we're not making this about the Mexican beef, and we're just focusing on the quality matchup it's going to be, because Bivol Canelo's it's going to be
it's going to be a great fight.
So I will ask, how do you guys feel about the slander that's going around? We're saying that essentially Canelo cherry picked him.
He can't win for losing. They've been disrespecting this man since he became a pro. For fuck's sake, he can't win for losing. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, you're handpicking this one, but you don't want to face better beef."
Exactly, and I mean, some of it is just, I think, the promoters doing, because I don't know if you guys heard recently, Eddie Hearn said that Canelo is very confident of beating Usyk, who's a heavyweight, and would fight him at 201 pounds. So now people are going to be demanding Canelo Usyk. So Canelo to put on 26 pounds.
201?
201 pounds.
Bitch.
But that's because the promoter spoke into the universe. But we go back to this fight, 2 or 3 years ago, Bivol was a monster. And the people were saying there's no way Canelo will fight him. He's just too good. He had a bit of a tough performance against Solomov in his last fight, but Solomov was a bigger fighter. So now they're saying that he cherry picked him because he looked beatable in the last performance. I disagree. I think between the offers he had, which was Bivol and Triple G for the trilogy, or he had Charlo Benavidez, I think Charlo's an easier fight for Canelo than Bivol. I think Bivol's going to present more problems than Charlo.
For sure.
So I don't see it as a cherry pick.
And I honestly I don't want to say this as in a fucked up way, but I think it would do disrespect to the 2 previous fights if there was a trilogy solely based on the fact that how old Triple G is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where I think they met at the perfect time, that the fights happened. There's always going to be controversy about it. But
it's time to move on.
It would be disrespectful to Triple G. Like I as much as I'm a Canelo fan, I do admire Triple G's career, and I think we should just let that lay where it is.
Yeah, I agree.
The Charlo fight, that should come after this, bro. I feel like the Charlo fight should come after this because I do want Canelo to fight an American boxer and finally put that entire nonsense to rest.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, he's only fighting Europeans and this and that, without the realization that all these American boxers can ultimately fight each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlo Andrade, I've been asking for that fight for a while, and nothing.
Been hitting them up on Twitter.
Carlo Benavidez?
That's another fight they should fight. Both PBC, and Canelo said as much. He's like, I can't fight everybody. So you guys need to start fighting each other, and I'll fight the winner.
There you go.
Simple as that. So Canelo's busy.
Hey,
for 2 more fights.
Benavidez, Boo Boo Saunders, bro. What's up with that?
It's gotta happen.
Boo Boo Saunders?
That's what I said.
I want to see him.
I honestly think that this fight is going to be awesome. I think it was the correct fight because everybody else had been calling him out. So the fact that he decided to box somebody that isn't calling him out and he simply let his work speak for itself says a lot about how you actually go about acquiring a fight with Canelo.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Just keep on winning, and Canelo, if he wants to, if he's got something you want, which in this case he wants the light heavyweight championship, he'll go after it. So in my opinion, Better Beef and Joe Smith, they're gonna fight for the 2 other light heavyweight belts. Benavidez should target the Better Beef Joe Smith winner. Because then he'll have a strap that Canelo wants.
Exactly.
Sweet guys.
Completely agree.
Any other closing thoughts on predictions for Canelo Bivol?
Here's a thought for you, bro.
Yep.
What would your opinion be of Canelo if he was to lose this fight? Because that's completely a possibility.
It is. I wouldn't think any less of him, honestly. Like the poster says, like legacy is earned, and I think Canelo is chasing greatness, and he's not a natural light heavyweight. Sure. If he was to lose, I think the narrative will be, see, I told you guys he beat Kobe, like he was the weakest link, was in decline. When he actually faces a legit light heavyweight, which Bivol is legit,
right? He
loses. So I think the Canelo haters will have their point proven, but I think the Canelo fans will see it as it was a step too far for Canelo. He is a natural light heavyweight. He should go back to 168 and focus on Charlo, on Benavidez. And I think now the Triple G Canelo fight, if Canelo loses, that's still there, and it may be more intriguing because they can say, oh, what does that do to Canelo's confidence heading into a third Triple G fight? He's just coming off a loss, and Triple G has momentum from the Marauder.
I think for me, I'm gonna be a Canelo fan. I'm always gonna be a Canelo fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think if he loses, it's one of those situations where it does make you realize like how difficult greatness is to achieve.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think there is a sense of like honor in watching somebody bite off a little more than they can chew,
right,
and then be humbled a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what, like, for example, Mayweather, obviously one of the greatest boxers, arguably the greatest boxer of all time, right? But it's because he's never been humbled by losing a fight that there's all this hate towards him.
Yeah, and I will give credit to Mayweather that he was a true champion, because when he was in those close fights that people thought like, oh, he lost, but he got the decision, like versus Castillo, versus Maidana, he ran it back. It was immediate rematches, and then he won convincingly because by that time he had figured them out. I see a lot of champions nowadays where they have a close fight, they arguably lost, but they got the decision, and they don't run it back. They keep it moving. So
there's nothing else to prove.
So if Canelo loses, I would be curious to know if the Triple G fight gets postponed and Canelo wants to run it back with Bivol.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. It definitely.
Don't get me wrong. That would be awesome to watch because it would definitely show what he's made of. Because it's easy to keep going when you win.
Yeah,
it's your character that really shows when you fall down.
Yeah, I would be very curious to see how he reacts to being hurt. He hasn't been hurt since his welterweight days, so we'll see.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I guess that would be my opinion on this fight.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's basically our thoughts. We all got Canelo by UD, but do not rule out Bivol. I think he's a live dog in this fight.
We don't have all Canelo for UD, bro.
Oh, one for CJ. All right. We all got Canelo, but Ricky's giving Bivol a good shot, which is fair enough. But stay tuned for more boxing content. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.